This is how you can avoid dying in one of the most horrific ways imaginable. Awareness saves lives, and you never know when this information might come in handy one day. Yesterday, in the popular district of Itaewon, Seoul, South Korea, over 150 young people were killed in a crowd crush. And in a few days from now, will mark 1 year since the Astroworld tragedy, in which young folks died in the exact same way. These tragedies are highly preventable through crowd control and through basic life-saving knowledge that I feel a lot of the younger generations are not being empowered with. How these incidences occur, and also how to save yourself and others if you ever find yourself in a dangerously dense crowd. Number one, you need to know what a crowd crush actually is and how it kills people. There's a common misconception that crowd crushes are simply stampedes, and oftentimes when these things happen, the media reports them as stampedes, but that is actually not true. To call a crush a stampede is not entirely accurate because in a stampede, people are able to run or move, but in a true crowd crush, you are able to do none of those things. This is because highly dense crowds become fluid in nature. Think of the feeling that you get when you are in the ocean and the waves are just pushing you around. When this happens, people completely lose control of their bodies and are forced to go in whatever direction the crowd is forcing them or pressing them into. When you experience extremely dense pressure from multiple sides, you begin to experience what is known as compressive asphyxia. This is what happens when your body is being squeezed so tight that you no longer have space to even expand your lungs, so you run out of oxygen. That is the danger of a crowd crush. 2. This is how to identify if the crowd you are in is becoming dangerous. There are 2 types of crushes that commonly result in fatalities. First is a crowd surge, in which the people at the very, very back of an extremely large, extremely dense crowd are pressing forward with no knowledge of what's happening at the front. The other is a crowd collapse, which usually happens when a person at the front of a highly dense crowd falls over as the crowd is pushing forward, which results in a domino effect of people falling one on top of the other. If you are in a packed crowd and find yourself unable to control the direction that you are moving in, you are already in danger. If you are able to, try your absolute best to turn around and go back. A huge red flag is if you are touching people on 2 or more sides of your body. And if you are touching people on all 4 sides of your body, you are already in danger. At that point, try your best to get out immediately. And another red flag is if a crowd is pressing into a wall, a barricade, a gate of any sort. This can become extremely dangerous. Following are several life-saving tips to remember if you ever find yourself in any of these situations. If you are at the very back of an extremely dense crowd, do not press forward, as this can cause harm to the people at the front. If the people in front of you are telling you to turn around and go back and you are able to, please turn around and go immediately. If you ever find yourself in a sea of people that is starting to feel fluid, just go with the flow, try to move with the crowd, try your best not to fight it. Preserve your energy and your oxygen at all costs. In these situations, people die because they are unable to breathe. Do not lift your arms above your head. Instead, keep your arms tucked into your chest to try to give yourself enough room to breathe. Look forward and try to anticipate the direction that the crowd is going. Do your absolute best to avoid falling down. If you do fall down, try your absolute best to fall into a fetal position with your limbs tucked tightly into your body. Again, your goal should be to try to conserve as much oxygen as possible and give yourself just enough space to breathe. And finally, if you are able to, help your fellow human. If a person falls and you are able to help them, help them. If you are able to escape a crowd and pull others out, help them. Spread the word as much as you can. Knowledge saves lives. Stay safe.